Hey folks, welcome back to the Hybrid Athlete channel. I am Dr. Paul Rimmer, and on today's video it's going to be about me. I just thought I'd give a little bit of update about what's going on in my life. Well timed. That probably says make the video now. So the last time I think I checked in with any of my training, it was a recovery block, and I talked a little bit about how I structure my recovery. Basically, I just trained a lot of field, did a few swimming sessions. I haven't run in about 4 weeks now, more than about a K, probably running to and from a bus. And again, the knee and the hip, the problems I had started to feel a little bit better. I did a recovery block for 3 or 4 weeks where basically I had a list of exercises, ones that weren't going to cause me pain, ones that I wasn't going to train to failure on, and ones that were low impact on the old joints, because I feel like the feet and the hips and the knees needed a bit of a rest. And I basically used the dice and rolled the dice and used that to select what my workouts were going to be, but also not being so rigid with it that if I felt tired and fatigued, I wouldn't take a day off. I am now into more of a pure focused powerlifting phase. I'd like to be doing a little bit more running, but I don't really want to run until the end of this month now. I think with obviously having the issue in the knee and the hip that I'd had coming off the back of the ultras last year, my little incident, I really don't want to run on it too much. It's not bad, it doesn't hurt, I'm back to walking normally, it's not flaring up or hurting me. But a couple of weeks ago I ended up just, like I said, having to run a little bit, and it was just a little something in the back of my mind. So most of the training I've been doing at the moment has been in the pool. I've been swimming a bit. I should be spending some time on the bike, but to be honest, the reason I haven't been doing that is because I'm massively lazy. No, to be honest, it's just been the last week or so, couple of weeks has been absolute chaos. We've been moving apartment, various things going on with business and life related stuff. And it's meant to be a recovery block, which is meant to be mentally refreshing, not just physically as well. And to be honest, I've just not really felt like it. So why would I? But this powerlifting block now, basically it's broken down into 4 with an optional 5th day of training. So Mondays tends to be, because I'm usually traveling on a Monday, so Monday tends to be like kind of like an easy swim, which will be an easy swim and or run once I start running. Tuesday, and by easy I mean just for now, just like just keeping the wheels turning over really, so very low training stress from that. Tuesday is my big powerlifting day. Basically the way my working schedule is at the moment, I have to do all my heavy stuff on one day. I think not necessarily ideal, and there'll be different people who argue about how you should structure this, but for me personally, my weeks tend to get a bit more chaotic as the week goes on towards the weekend. And I think psychologically for me, having one day where I do all my heavy squatting, all my heavy benching, all my heavy deadlifting, even though that session started off at around just about an hour, but over time as you progress the loads and there's more warm-up sets involved, that session will probably build up to being like a 2-hour session. But that's all my heavy training done for the week, is usually done on a Tuesday. On a Wednesday then, I'll do some fluff and some mobility work. So by fluff, I just mean glamour muscles. And I'll try and squeeze in a bit of swim then as well. And of an evening, I take like a little group session then, part of my membership site. Check out the link in the description. Shameless plug, unshameless plug. And in that, I'll do some, what I would call like running and endurance specific strength. So stuff around the hips, the glutes, and then just some basic mobility and stretching stuff, just trying to shake off some of the effects of the previous day's training. And then on Thursday is then my lower body day, so it's all my accessory stuff for basically my squats and deadlifts. So I'll do some split squats, some step ups, some hamstring work, some work in and around my glutes and my erectors, and again, video should be in and around here. That's that session. Friday or Saturday, depending on where I am and whether I'm traveling, will be my upper body accessory day, which will just be more bench pressing and some shoulder work and stuff as well. And then, so in and around what I would classify as my non-negotiable sessions, I am then trying to fit in the odd swim here and there. Like I've just moved apartment at the moment, so I'm still trying to figure out logistics. And like I said, after this week, or the end of this month, sorry, not this week, after this week, I then will start to run just one easy run, probably on a Saturday or a Sunday morning, just for an hour, again, just to keep that aerobic base in there as well, because I don't want that deconditioning. And then, the way I'm structuring this block as well, because I've got a few things coming up, so I'm away for a week at the start of September, I'm away for a week at the start of October. So I basically get a run of like 3.5, 4 weeks where I can really push the strength work. And then I'm away in an environment where there's not going to be gyms. Well, there might be gyms, but they're not going to be what I probably need to compete in my powerlifting. So that's why I'm doing this kind of like big volume blocks of strength work for like 3-4 weeks. Then I'll have a deload week, which is normally something I factor into my training anyway, just because you know, I'd get beaten up pretty badly now, the age I am and the injuries I've had. On those deload weeks, I'm probably going to use those as an opportunity to then start to introduce some kind of like interval style work as well. So again, I'm not putting a load of training stress on, particularly on my hip and my knee. So yeah, that's it. I've got, and this is the overview of my calendar for the year. So I've got 4 weeks on, a week or so off, 4 weeks on, a week or so off, and then I think it's 4 weeks, and then it's powerlifting competition time on the 12th of November. So far, and for the first couple of weeks, like I said, it's my first 2 weeks back lifting heavy with a structured program. So I've just been taking it really easy. RPE effort levels at sort of 6s and 7s as you'd expect now. It always feels heavier the first couple of sessions back in, but training this week, and like I say, yesterday, there we are on Thursday, Tuesday this week, I did my heavy stuff and it moved all pretty well. There's still a few things that I need to get in place properly. With moving apartment, my nutrition's been okay. I've been monitoring loosely what I've been eating, but I really need to get some structure back and really start to be more accurate with my calorie tracking. Not for the reasons that you would think, actually. With moving, with being active, with traveling about a lot, one of the things that I need to be really careful of is making sure that I'm not under eating. So I noticed that when I'm on it, if I'm not tracking my food intake to make sure I'm eating sufficiently, because I gravitate back to like really structured eating, so I'll get like meal prep and very kind of like whole nutrient dense foods and maybe like 1 or 2 snacks a day. One of the things I've noticed is if I do that, my body fat comes down. But then also on the other side of it, when I've been traveling and you're grabbing sandwiches here and there, I think psychologically, because you feel like you're eating more high calorie foods, that you're like, oh yeah, I'm eating enough, and then again your weight's not going up. And I do need to probably put on 3 to 4 kilos over the next 12 weeks minimum. So that's really the goal now after the first couple of weeks training. For this next 2 weeks, for the first 2 weeks training this block, which will be ending now. From now until basically the 12th of November, I've got a wedding this weekend, the awesome sports psych Hugh Gilmore. That was a wave, by the way. It was a terrible wave. He's getting married this weekend down in Loughborough, which is great because the train strikes, but we'll make it work. So there'll be a few alcoholic beverages consumed. Wedding to go to in October, which is going to be in Italy, which is going to be great. It's going to go to Florence, going to go to Rome. It's going to be class. I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, that will be, again, I imagine food intake will be quite high, but I'm not going to be bothered at that point. The plan now, though, is every week I'm home, every week I'm here, is to be as disciplined as possible, because I've got I was a little bit disappointed with how ultra season ended, and I've got some real big targets that I want to hit for powerlifting competition now. Like I want to blow my performance out last March out the window, and I want to set a competition PB at the weight that I would be at. So those numbers that I'm looking to hit, some PBs this year, and a lot, to be honest, I'm not sure what weight class I'm going to compete at yet. A lot of that will depend on how quickly my weight goes up. I wanted to compete in the 93s and get my weight back up to 97, 98 kilos and then drop a little bit to come down for that, but I just don't know if my weight's going to climb. So if my weight sort of stays where it is now for another week or two, which is around about 91-ish, I'll probably still compete in the 82 and a halves. And most people might think, well, why wouldn't you just compete in the lighter class? For me, my sweet spot in terms of even relative strength is around about 93, 94. I know I get this little, like quite a steep drop off in strength at that. So for example, 82 and a half, I would hope to bench maybe 125, 130, squat maybe 170, 170-ish, 180-ish, and deadlift maybe 215. At 93, even though the relative amounts of muscle mass won't be that different, having that extra bulk, I would be expecting to be benching, 140, 145, squatting 175 to 190. Obviously my squat's a bit limited because of my back, and deadlifting way above 225, 230. So that's what I'm kind of targeting at the moment in terms of my numbers. So yeah, that's the difference it kind of makes. Now I've hit my targets for the first 2 weeks, but again, those targets have been very pragmatic to ease back into it. After this week's deadlifting session, I've done all the lifts on the same day, definitely felt it a little bit more this week than last week. So next week's targets are bench presses, 110 kilos on my top set, squats is 125 on my top set, and my deadlift is 165 on my top set. And I'm just going to add in 5 kilos a week for the next couple of weeks. Then after that, we're going to add in just smaller increments to build up to our opening weights. So that's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully that was moderately interesting. Who knows? If anyone's got any questions about how I structure my training, how I structure my nutrition and stuff, just ask a question in the comments below. Please give this video a like and a subscribe, and I'll be back with you very soon with more sciencey based stuff, more advice, and hopefully more insight into the progress that I'm making on this powerlifting block, and hopefully it's going as swimmingly as it has done for the last few weeks. Now I've moved apartment and I can actually get myself my proper structure back in place. Right guys, whatever it is you're doing, wherever it is you're doing it, have a great day. Peace.